Howdy folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guys and gals. How's everybody doing today? I'm in Maidan Square. Today is Monday, June 2nd. And I'm in Maidan Square, but I'm about to take an Uber to the Holodomor-Genocide Museum. If you'd like to join me, do a little tour of that museum, and we can go through that, give you a little history behind some of the genocide that Stalin created. Man-made genocide, starvation. All right, folks, so if you want to join me, come along. See you in a few. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. Okay, yeah. All right, folks, so here we are. I'll figure it out. We're at the address, supposedly we're, let me see here. Okay, let me take care of this here. The paying off the Uber driver and giving him a tip, and let me see here. All right, so let me look at the map again. Okay, so here we are. I'm going to cross the street. The Holodomor Memorial and Museum. Okay, folks, so here we are at the Holodomor Memorial and Museum. Between the years 1932 and 1933, was primarily the times where Stalin murdered, starved to death many people. We're talking about, you know, that 1 year is really just an understatement, because it was many years between Lenin and Stalin rule that there were many other people in the Caucasus and the Tajikistan area, and around Georgia, all of those annexed countries and states that they had dominance over were murdered, people, and starved to death. We're talking about millions of children, victims from 32 to 33, but many others. Here we are at that memorial and museum, and here's a monument, an erect monument to honor the loss of all those poor victims. And it looks like, according to the online It says that it's open till 6 p.m., but it says closed right there. So let's see what's going on. Yeah, well, you know, it is a Monday, so maybe it's open on the weekends. Who knows? So this is just my luck. This is the kind of thing that happens to me all the time anyways. Pay money to come out here and the place is closed. All right, folks, from now on I'm gonna make phone calls. Look at how this light, this bright light is making me look like 100 years old. Anyways, I came out here. I'm gonna have to pick this up at a later date. Right now, what I'll do is I'll go and I'll look at one of the other museums. There's many of them throughout Kyiv and Ukraine. But in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll walk around. I'll show you this monument. In the view of Kyiv. Wow. From 21 to 22. Look at, we're talking about Lenin, Stalin. They decimated, they murdered, starved to death a lot of people. From 32 to 33. You know, we're talking about from 46 to 47. Wow, look at this. There's so much more. So I'm gonna. Wow, that must be the exit. Let's go down there just out of curiosity. Let's see what's going on down here. Yeah, this must be the exit. Then it goes down here. Look at that view. There's another. Okay, folks. There must have been a school field trip out here because somebody was studying dark academia. So yeah, let's take a little walk through here. And let's do a little translation of this. let's see. So this says this place on August 24th, 11/008 in the year Bosh 2008, the prophet of the native Ukrainian national faith Lev Zelenko performed the rite of lighting the sacred fire of the Ukrainian spiritual revolution. So that's what that says, folks. And here's another view of the city over the river, Dnipro. And let's see what we got here. Looks like there's another field trip. This is a sarcophagus made of filiform bricks, and it talks about the construction and what it was made of, the history behind it. There's the sarcophagus is associated with Euphemia, the daughter of the Prince Holodomor-Genocide. The Epitaph Chronicle reports that in 1113, Euphemia, the daughter of the Holodomor, passed away on the 4th day of the month of April on Monday. As you can see, you can read it for yourselves. Oh, of course, that's locked too. You get this, all these little alleyways, and some more of those chapels. Wow, look at those golden domes, huh? Let's see what we got down here. All right, so we're coming out to a side road. Let's see where this brings us. Sounds like somebody's practicing piano. All right, so let's go back down. Like I said, when I called to find out when the Holodomor-Genocide Museum is open, so I don't have to waste a trip out here, then I'll attach this footage to it and we'll just go right into the museum. Okay, all right folks, I'm gonna look for another museum. And until then, please like, subscribe, share this video, and the like, thumbs up process helps propagate this through the YouTube. All right, folks, I'm finally here again after a couple of attempts, and and they're open. See? So I'm gonna come down here and finally get to view the Holodomor-Genocide Museum. Hello. Entrance here, right? Thank you, sir. Hello. Hi. Dobar dan. Yes. One. Okay. Card? Card, yep. Fantastic, thanks. All right. Okay, thank you so much. Good to luck to you too. Thank you. So here's the entryway. You can see that they're all in traditional dress. They had a tribal and huge family, village, and community sense, and they still do. The Eastern Europeans have a great sense of family and community. So let's read something here. It's perhaps the classic example of Soviet genocide is the longest and broadest experiment in Russification, the destruction of the Ukrainian nation. Raphael Lemkin. Yeah, so here are some, I'm sure, relics, original relics of some of the chaos. Taras Ivanovich farm in Baryanka, Kyiv, was under occupation during March 2022. Here is a Russian soldiers set up a repair base. So I guess some of this, they've incorporated some of the current, excuse me folks, other equipment that remained on the farm's territory, including tractors, combines, cars, and agricultural machines, was stolen and destroyed by the Russians. They burned down the working and storage facilities, workshops, and the office, all of its equipment. According to the eyewitnesses, the arson was intentional, as during their stay at Borodianka, the occupiers deliberately disabled Voitonovich equipment. There are recorded testimonies that the bumper of one of the tractors, the Russians placed a bust of Lenin, rode it across the fields, and then set it on fire. In total, the damage amounted to about $350,000. So what they're doing is they're introducing some of the Russian tactics that have been brought from the 30s on, and the sociopathic, narcissistic, psychopathic control is still in place. They're still wanting to be expansionist and controlling and domineering, and they're pulling their antics into today's existence. Yeah, here's the house and deprived of property. In a village back Rivka, her father refused to join the collective farm, so their family was decolossified, moved out of the house and deprived of property during the robbery. It just goes on and tells you about some of the stuff that was left over from people that were pushed out of their homes and their property was taken over. They were starved to death. Oh, wow. Let's see what... There's a lot. Looks like some of... Just an example. Ukrainians mostly did not accept the principles of communism. So the criminal policy of collectivism and declunkinization provoked resistance amongst the Ukrainian people. The poorly organized massive resistance had a clear anti-occupation and anti-communist nature. Today, the same, anti-communism. 2014 is a great example of that. They rose up and they kicked out the communist Russian puppet. Among the rebels were Kyiv brothers of the village of Kyiv, Sumy region, Ivan, Sergei, Alexei were the first deprived of their voting rights and later declunkinized, which meant eviction from the village, and property was seized. The repression forced five brothers, also Seaman and Dimcho, to take up arms. The family didn't let the communists into the village from 1930 to 1932. The brothers hid in the woods, but in the end, a forester snitched on them to the NKVD, the cavalry police detachments from Shachka, and all neighboring districts surrounded and shot the heroes. The dead bodies were demonstratively placed on the gates, removed from hinges, and were meant to show the fate of those who resisted. In 1933, Olha Kyiv got compensation for seized property of her father, house, 3 barns, storage, backyard, etc. She could buy only a goat for this money. There is a street in Shatska town named in honor of the Kyiv family. Well, and the stories just continue. They keep on going on, folks. Propaganda in Ukrainian SSR covered all fields of society. Propaganda came through various channels, such as media, posters, leaflets, literature, cinema, radio. The Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Bolsheviks of Ukraine, the Bolsheviks, they killed the Romanovs, created a special department of agitation and propaganda to carry out the propaganda work. Its departments directly guided the ideological work. In other words, they ruled all public space. Communist regime paid great attention to the political agitation during collectivism and the Holodomor-Genocide fueling hostility. propaganda broke down moral barrier to torturing people classified by the regime as enemies of the state, justified the criminal actions of the regimes against the enemies, to legitimize the genocide. The magazine Agitator was first published in Kyiv in 1925 and contained guidelines for political campaigning and building socialism. In 1932, there were already two separate issues. City Agitator contained materials on propaganda work among factory workers, and Village Agitator for agitation among collective farmers. Yeah. Look at, they show some of the probably books that were dated 1932, but that's a board and paper right there. In order to pump out the available grain stocks from Ukraine, the Grain Procurement Commissioners and the perpetrators of the Holodomor-Genocide introduced and implemented the criminal policy of mass searches of Ukrainian farms, confiscating all grain stored in sacks, wooden barrels, and straw. They were using sharpened metal pens and sticks for pulling hay, looking for grain in skirts, toilets, attics, dismantling stoves, house walls, breaking joists, digging in gardens and yards. They were taking out confiscated grain by carts, by sleighs in the winter to granaries. From there it was sent by the red rolls to receiving points for transportation to seaports for export to large cities outside Ukraine. The rest of the grain, which the performers, including towing brigades members, did not have time to send from the reception points, was processed into alcohol or left to rot in the rain and snow, while millions of Ukrainians were dying of famine. Ukraine is one of those countries that in its under Ukraine is one of those countries that in its under totalitarian past experienced one of the greatest tragedies in the history of human civilization, genocide. James Mace. Toxin trade with foreigners was a chain of shops through which the communist regime extorted valuables from Ukrainians. By organizing the Holodomor, the regime forced people to exchange their gold and silver jewelry for food. Toxins operated in 1931 to 35 in total through the Toxin system. Stalin robbed Ukrainians of 18 million kebabants, 14 tons of gold, and the Kurdjan visitor showed his or her items to an appraiser and was issued a product bill for this amount. At the Toxin exchange rate, the bill was assigned to a specific town and had an expiration date. If during this time the desired product, according to the 1933 statistics, in 90% of the cases it was food, did not appear in the store, the buyer had to choose from available soap or boots. The Toxin clients were often deceived, and the quality of the product in the stores was low. Martha Kovalenko, grandfather Yakim, regularly visited Toxin store in Romany. He traded one by one silver cutlery, which he had got from the family of counts for his service. During the Holodomor, he traded all cutlery. Only his silver spoon remained. That was it, man. Russia launched its first massive strike on Ukraine's energy infrastructure October 10th, 2022. 85 cruise missiles from air, sea, and ground, ballistic missiles, and aircraft-guided missiles and strike drones were fired that day. These attacks damaged 11 key energy facilities in 8 regions in Kyiv, causing power outages in some regions. These types of strikes continued throughout autumn and winter. On October 18, 2022, Russian forces targeted the thermal power plant, triggering a collapse of the capital's power grid. The Russians aimed to create a humanitarian disaster, conditions unfit for life, to sow chaos, panic, and to compel the population to demand the Ukrainian government to stop resisting Russia. That was Zaporizhia, if I'm correct. Russian propagandists repeatedly emphasized their intention to freeze Ukrainian cities, and even Vladimir Putin himself acknowledged that the Russian army was indeed striking Ukraine's critical infrastructure. The first nationwide blackout occurred on November 23rd, 2022, following the massive attack. Missile attack, energy power shutdowns were implemented due to the infrastructure damage, leaving the entire territory of Ukraine without electricity, heat, and water throughout 2023. Right now, I have no electricity, no water. My Wi-Fi internet is down. Russian attacks on energy sector continue according to 1948 convention, deliberately inflicting on the groups of conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction and whole apart constitutes genocide, yes. And the genocidal mindset for the Russians continues, and they need to leave. I'm recommending it. The history of Holodomor knows not only the cruelty of criminals and the disregard of observers, but also the courage of people who did not stay aside and save others. In 1925, fleeing from the communist persecution, Oleksiy Vobly and his family arrived to the village Pekoshki. It's in the Zaporizhia area. Before he was a psalmist and teacher in the Poltava region. He headed to school, set up a choir, and a drama club. His neighbors recalled this man was a school and a club and everything in our village. During the Holodomor, not a single child died in the village, thanks to Oleksiy Vobly. In the school canteen, he fed his students with meals obtained through tricks and cheats. He let 4 children whose parents died out of the genocide live in his house. According to various sources, Vobly saved the lives of 30 children. In 1937, he was invited for a conversation to Metropole, probably by the NKVD. Later, he was brought dead to the village in a closed coffin. Any documents about the circumstances of Oleskiy's death has not been found. Vobly's deed was consistent choice during the artificial famine of 1921 to 23. He also saved children in the Poltava region. Yeah, folks, so as you know, in Irpin and Bucha, there were some horrible atrocities too that represents what the Russians really are about. Here's some old books. I guess from that day, from those days. There were multiple cases of shootings of evacuation convoys in the different regions of the country committed by Russian occupiers on February 25th, 2022 on the highway to Hostomel. The occupiers fired at 12 cars with small arms, machine guns, and BTR cannon. 11 people were killed and another 15 were injured. On September 30th, 2022, the Russians hit a civilian humanitarian convoy in Zaporizhia with S-300 missiles. It consisted of about 200 cars. As a result of the strike, 30 people died and 88 were injured. The shooting of the evacuation convoy in the Kyiv region with small arms in September 2022 claimed the lives of 24 people, including 13 children and a pregnant woman. As you can see. Mass graves, exhumption of bodies from mass grave on the territory of the Church of Andrew the First, called in the city of Bucha, April 13, 2022. Folks, right now, you know, it's the Russians are just continually sending missiles and drones into this country, and people are dying every day, soldiers and civilians. Kyiv right now is being bombed to pieces. In September 2022, the armed forces of Ukraine deoccupied Kyiv Oblast, mass burial sites, Ukrainian civilians. Ukrainian writer found his diary buried. Never thought my native village would become an epicenter of the racist occupation with my patriotic pro-Ukrainian. Yeah, well, it's real tragedy for the people out there that have to go through war. War is hell. The process of decolonization of the Pantalaimian Yemets left little. And we're back. Look at that, was like a full, that was like I did a full round. I mean, please pardon my interpretation of the Ukrainian language. Definitely needs a lot of work. I just haven't been motivated. I hope everybody enjoyed this visit. And here's some, I'll tell you, some very old churches, centuries old, have also been destroyed with the tragedies. Let's look at the massive graves. Okay, I guess that's not going to work for us because there's definitely a problem with, okay, here we go. There's the, okay, excursion, let me see. If any of you can see that, I'm just going to continue to click through it. Anyways, folks, there's a boat. Definitely is a dugout. It's been carved out. Look at that. That's a carved out boat. Going back to, you know, many, many, many years. Here's a little loom. What they do is they, you know, they put wool in there and they make yarn. Priatica, a horizontal spinning wheel, a mechanical device with a foot drive for spinning threads, wood, metal, crude leather. Yeah, so here's a loom, you can see. They you get some, you know, some material up there. Combat colors. Well, folks, hope you got something out of this. You know, I'm always like so unprepared, but as long as I could get you in here to see something, that's what counts. Please follow me, like, subscribe, and share this video. And I'm just, right now, things are kind of hectic. I have no water, got no Wi-Fi, no internet, no electricity. I mean, the electricity's, it varies throughout the day. Sometimes it's out 8 hours, and then it's off for 4, you know, so. I'm still able to get out and around, though. Hope everybody's doing good. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Thank you, ladies. Bye. Hi, folks. I'm gonna, there's like a big fortress right down the street from where I live. And I walked by it every day. I never noticed it, but I want to bring you there eventually. And I'll also, you know, get some footage and post that as well. My mind isn't even, you know, here with me. Most of the time it's somewhere else. I'm thinking of other people as well and their welfare and how they're doing. I've already brought you up there to see all that. As you can see in the view of the city over here, we'll take another look at that. But you can see how this is all underground. The museum. We'll take another look. You're going to see some of the footage. That was from a couple of days ago when I was even less prepared and much more disorganized. I got to get my shit together, I know. Well, there you have it, folks. Hope everybody's enjoyed our little trip here to the Holodomor-Genocide Museum. And don't forget, people, you know, the things that create social ills and problems throughout the world is indifference, ignorance, haughtiness, hubris, superficial, shallow types of people that just ignore their neighbors, and that creates a tiring, like a fascist tyrant mindset, which carries on into governments that become sociopathic and psychopathic, and then they want to control people. It's all because of us humans that these things have happened in the past and are happening now in 2024. It's ridiculous. Do yourself and your family and your friends and your community a service. Be a decent person. Say hi. I'm walking around Kyiv and I see poor people, elderly. I'm talking about women in their 80s and even 90s that have cups open because they're running out of their pensions. I'm putting money in their cups. I don't see anybody else helping their own. You have to help your own if you want to get help from other people. Help your communities. Look around, folks. Look around for the people that are less fortunate and help them. Even if it's just a smile and say, how are you doing today? How's everything? Or just say hi, have a nice day. Don't be afraid. That's people's ignorance and indifference is what's, like I just said, the cause of most of the troubles of the world, and we have to stop it. All right, folks, please like, subscribe, and have a nice day.